Well, good day, everyone. My name is Larry Reed, and I'm CEO of ZKTeco USA subsidiary. We are a leading provider of access control, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you today, along with my partner, Steve Berkmeyer, Vice
Hi, everyone.
President. Hey, Steve, Vice President of Arteco, a leading provider of video event management software. So today's event, as you've all been invited, and we're thankful for you for joining us today, is event-based video management solution with built-in temperature detection, mass detection, and access control capabilities. Now, many of the technologies we're going to share with you today have been available in the market, but granted, they were all very separate, disparate systems. And now for the first time, by ZK partnering with Arteco, from within the Arteco interface, you can now collect video reports, access control reports, and now with COVID-19, you can now get real-time temperature detection alerts as well. If anyone is not adhering to mask compliance, and all this now consolidated all within the simple interface used by Arteco. So very interesting technology, a tremendous convenience, and now getting all those alerts under one umbrella while all that integration works in the background. So now end users will have a far simpler time really paying attention to things that matter. With so many events going on throughout the day, you don't want to have to look at every single time a door opens up, every single time a camera triggers. You really want to make sure that your attention is spot on with the things of concern. If someone should not be opening up a door, if someone does have elevated body temperature or is violating mask compliance. So that's really the point of today's discussion, is how you can now look at all these events and have actionable data all from a simple interface utilizing Arteco as the front end and then having ZKTeco in the back end. So before we continue, we'd like to encourage everyone, we do have a chat session, so please do ask questions in the chat. We'll be reviewing it at the end of this discussion. And just so we have a little bit of understanding about who is in the audience today, if you could please just answer for us briefly, what security solutions do most of your recent projects use? Are they video management only, perhaps? Or touchless access control? We're seeing now the need for a touchless technology with COVID concerns and people returning to school and work. Are you implementing body temperature solutions to ensure that no one is entered into the facility with a raised body temperature? Perhaps your business might be focusing on just card access, and you've never before gotten involved with video management. Or, of course, a combination of any of the above. This way, we'll be able to frame our answers so that it makes most sense to everyone on the call. We want to try to address the entire audience as best we can, but of course, we all, including myself and Steve, have our own particular strengths and weaknesses. So please let us better understand the audience today. So as I briefly mentioned, here's what we're going to review today. The discussion should last probably about 30 minutes, and then we want to leave some time for questions and answers, certainly. And Steve will also be providing us a live demonstration of the Arteco interface. So we're going to be discussing the importance of video event management. We'll also be discussing access control. And then, of course, the integration between these two leading applications. We'll then go into the live demo, and as mentioned before, we'll hopefully have time for questions and answers at the end. Certainly, if we run out of time, you'll have our contact information, and we encourage you, please speak with us after today's presentation. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. So let's have a look now at video event management, because from our experience with our thousands of dealers, this is where most end users spend their time, is in the video event management software. If they do have access control, typically that's all set up in the fronts, configured, but typically access control is something that you look at after you discover an event. There was an proprietary, and then you want to look at the access logs, but typically end users live and breathe in their video event management software. Hopefully you're already using Arteco, but if you haven't begun using video management, you definitely want to look at Arteco. So we begin this slide with the video management market in general. Customers today are implementing both access control and video management at greater rates than ever before. Typically, customers have maybe a lock and key, And with regards to video, they might have old systems, or maybe they haven't really implemented it. Certainly they have an intrusion system set up, a burglar alarm, but really now you're seeing access control and video management take off, and the integration makes it even that much more powerful. Here's just a little bit of a statistic. You can see here that the U.S. Market for video management was about $3 billion in 2019, just a couple of years ago. But you can see it's growing over 18% in the years to come. So video management, also triggered by the fact that surveillance cameras now are becoming less expensive and more powerful, and you really want to, take advantage of all those cameras and be able to have intelligent, actionable data. And that's what the video management does for you, the ability to selectively search on people of interest, objects of interest. And Steve has a video that you'll be checking out. If this is new to you, it's totally cool just to be able to look up the color of a car or a license plate or a particular person. It's really, really cool. I know you're going to get a lot of value out of that. So that's our video management market. And then, of course, the access control market. Here, ZKTeco will be presenting to you some of the technology that's relevant. And we're going to show you a little bit here the statistics that also show that in 2020, the U.S. market was estimated about $8.6 billion, and also continues to rise steadily. So, a lot of things are driving this, not just the need for security, but a lot of this electronic security is also enabling businesses to reopen. You need to have some level of confidence within the local government, returning employees, and customers for businesses to reopen. So they're achieving this through electronic security so that you can have auditing of whoever has entered your premise. There's also more electronic screening to ensure that no one's been exposed to COVID-19, no one has shown symptoms. So electronic security is taking off, video management, both taking off. So now is the time you really want to look at how do I integrate these two key applications. Now, before you want to hear from either myself or Steve, of course, we need to establish a little credibility. So who is ZKTeco? Well, today we're mostly known as one of the world's largest manufacturers of biometric readers used in both physical security and time and attendance. And now we've broadened that technology into access control panels, management software, kiosks, and I'll show you a little bit of a snapshot of the products that we bring to market. But from a company perspective, we have over 50 global offices. We have manufacturing in 3 countries, China, Thailand, and India. We've got multiple R&D centers all over the world. We have R&D here in the U.S. in Silicon Valley, which is not too much of a surprise. And if we look at all the countries we've been selling to over 20 years, we estimate over 140 have actually purchased our products. So we have a very large global footprint and certainly been in the security market for a long time. Now, even though we're going to be focusing primarily on Arteco, we also want you to have an appreciation for the other technology available from ZKTeco. And this is all manufactured by one company. We're not beholden on third parties. We have traditional card access systems. For those of you on the line, you definitely want to inquire about our new Atlas door kits. There's absolutely no software whatsoever, totally browser-based. It supports Power Ethernet, Wi-Fi, so very minimal cabling. You get a free mobile app, and it's very, very feature-rich. We also brought to the market integrated fingerprint recognition into a panel. I still believe today ZK is the only company in the world that can match fingerprints on the panel. So that means if you want to do fingerprint matching, you don't need to purchase large, expensive standalone readers and run network cable to them all. Instead, you could use a ZK in-bio controller and have very inexpensive secondary fingerprint readers at the door. We also have our own line of HID readers. In fact, we also recently introduced QR code readers. And if those of you are not familiar with QR codes, today, since COVID, it's very popular in restaurants where they don't want you touching the menus. So typically you'll scan a QR code, but overseas, QR code is very popular. And one of the most advantageous things about QR codes, it doesn't cost any money for the credentials. You can make them up. So imagine no longer having to purchase replacement cards or even digital credentials for that matter. So you definitely want to look into QR code scanners. As mentioned before, we are the world's largest manufacturer of multi-biometric readers. We had face recognition readers over 20 years ago. And today our Speed Face is very popular. It scans both faces and palms, and some of the devices even have built-in thermal detection, which can now actually convey all that monitoring to your Arteco interface. So we'll be talking about that. We also have fingerprint recognition, finger vein, and a whole variety of them. We manufacture long-range readers. We also manufacture a variety of turnstiles, some of which even have integrated thermal detection. And we were the first and only company to have a combination metal detector and walk-through turnstile. So now, not only are you being checked for metal, but you also have a turnstile controlling access. We also have walk-through and portable metal detectors and even X-ray scanners. So I assure you, as a security company, we've been doing this a long time, and all this technology is available under one roof here at ZKTeco. So with that said, I think one of the most interesting things now available through the integration is now knowing when you have anyone that has elevated body temperature or not wearing a mask. So we had tremendous success last year. We actually sold over 10,000 body temperature mask readers, which are called Speed Face readers. The number one reader now is our model SF1008T Plus. And this is ideal for access control applications, or really any application where you need to identify users. It could be time and attendance, it could be visitor management, it could even be point of sale, anytime where you want to recognize people as they enter the premise. It has an 8-inch display and a very powerful thermographic camera. So now you can actually detect people's temperature when they're standing within 2 feet of the device, and it's very, very accurate. You can recognize faces and masks, or you can even turn that off and just recognize when anyone, even a stranger, has an elevated body temperature. So this is checking for registered employees as well as visitors. But if you just want to use it for access control, we can recognize people's faces with and without a mask. We can recognize their palm or even enter in a PIN code. So here you have a complete standalone access control device. You could wire it to your existing card access system. You can integrate it to your customer's existing back-end access control system. And all the time that it's detecting elevated temperature mask, it will be sending alerts to Arteco. And now from the Arteco interface, you can now have reports on exactly who's tripped the reader. So that's our AT Plus model. Now, the reason why all this integration works is because on the back end, you'll be using our ZK Biosecurity Access Control software, which is extremely feature-rich, very powerful. When used with Arteco, you'll simply be using the software to configure your access control system. But once everything is configured, it'll pretty much run in the background, because now you can do everything from the Arteco front-end interface. You could be doing remote access control, remote opening of doors, while at the same time you're looking at all these alerts from all the different peripheral devices you have on your network, which Steve will talk about. So the software is very, very secure. Even includes optional HTTPS secured communication. I mentioned we have a temperature detection module that you can actually set up the readers and control them from our software. So you could add users, you could set a different type of variables. If you want it in centigrade, if you're a Canadian customer overseas. So very, very powerful. And if you are a software developer, we also have an available SDK and API. But you're going to get the automatic export of reports. We have a universal lockdown capability, which is really big. Before COVID-19, sadly in the news were all these active shooters. Well, the need for a universal lockdown is very important if ever there's an emergency. We also can provide you notifications by email. And with regards to working with Arteco, all this video is contingent upon cameras. Well, we can take feeds from any OnViv compliant camera. If you have a large population of users, we have Active Directory integration, so we make the setup quite simple. And in fact, you could even, besides controlling doors and turnstiles, we also have elevator controllers. You don't want to have somebody come into the entrance of your building and give them free reign of all the floors in a multi-floor building. So it's very important to also have elevator control. So I didn't want to get too caught up in all the capabilities of our access control. It's very, very impressive. But again, this is all going on in the background because you're going to be operating the entire integrated system from Arteco. So this is a nice 3-minute video available on our YouTube channel. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to actually see it, but this is a combination of ZK Biosecurity working with a variety of biometric devices, securing an actual 200,000 square foot building. So this gives you some idea of how all this technology comes together. Now, security actually starts outside the perimeter in the parking facility. So you might want to implement license plate recognition. And once that license plate's identified, it can notify the Arteco system and notify you accordingly. And I mentioned before, once you get past the front desk security, you don't want to have employees or visitors access every floor. So why not have a biometric reader controlling the elevator bank and limiting that visitor to only one particular floor? You can also use biometrics for time and attendance so that the employees can't cheat for one another by using cards and PIN codes, and certainly touch-free access control using face recognition. And then with video linkage, you can actually trigger a camera to start recording whenever the door opens up and have that fed back to your Arteco system. And when you have visitors, you also want to recognize those visitors, give them credentials, and then notify the host that the visitor has arrived. So this is a very, very cool video. I encourage you all, please do visit our ZKTeco YouTube channel, and you can see videos of where the software and hardware comes together in meaningful applications. So let's now focus on why we all came to this webinar today. Let's look at video event management integrated with access control. So why the need for integration? Well, as I mentioned before, you can see that the market is surging with regards to the number of electronic access control systems being deployed, and of course, now video management. So no doubt both these systems are very, very important. But who wants to actually operate multiple interfaces pulling from multiple databases? It can be very, very time consuming, and you might miss out on a very critical event. So the fact that this is now all unified under a single interface brings tremendous time savings and convenience to your security team. As mentioned before, all this information is now available from within the interface of the Arteco. And in addition to that, Arteco has created a hook into the ZK Biosecurity software. So if you do have any particular access control tasks that need to be taken care of, you could do them from within the Arteco interface. You don't have to close out the application and launch ZK Biosecurity. So part of this integration also consists of this hook. And now from the Arteco interface, now you can now receive real-time access control alerts when a door is opened or closed. You can also receive real-time temperature alerts, or if someone is not meeting mask compliance, all from the Arteco interface. You can also see intrusion events and when fire and burglar alarm sensors are going off. And you know, Steve, I apologize if I'm taking any of your thunder away, but
no, this is great. This is great, Larry. I mean, you could do the whole thing here.
Cool, because you know, I met you years ago at ISC West. And I said, man, I wish we had that kind of functionality. And then Steve said, well, you can. And yeah, so guys, you're really going to be impressed if you're never using Arteco. And Steve does an awesome live demo, but we can set you guys up with you know, demos after the webinar, and you're really going to be impressed. So you know, hang in there with us. So I don't want to beat a dead horse into the ground, but really, if you look at the before and after, the before is most people are managing, you know, independent, you know, intrusion alarm systems. They're managing independent access control systems, independent, you know, video surveillance, even, you know, independent maybe electronic locker applications. All these applications, multiple databases, and then triple or quadruple the amount of devices you have to manage. So that's asking a lot of a security administrator. But now through the integration of Arteco that was already pulling this all together, now added access control under a single interface that seamlessly pulls in all this data, it saves so much time for the security administrator. And this still really is a unique offering. Not many dealers are offering this. So this really is a tremendous value add when you're selling to your clients. So, with that said, Steve, I didn't talk about your history, so I left something for you.
I appreciate it, and I apologize if I was trying to cue that up, but did I? Can you see my screen?
So, yeah, so this is still my slide, I believe.
Okay, hang on one second.
Yeah, so, yeah, for any of you, Steve and I are practicing social distancing, about 1,000 miles distancing. So, yeah, so
Yes,
Steve, corporate
sure
office.
share. Okay, so just momentarily, we're also getting used to Teams broadcast here. So here we go. Okay, so Larry, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Hi everyone. Once again, Steve Berkmeyer, Vice President of Business Development for Arteco. And I wanted to just briefly just give you a little bit of background on us. There's so much venture capital. There's so much, new kind of solutions coming out. It's like every day I hear, some new company out there. And really, what it's important for us to always establish that this is not something that was created, in a lab overnight. Arteco's been around since the late '80s, 1987. And we actually started off in industrial automation, and it was through this work in industrial automation that we developed patents in what's called machine vision analytics. And we were looking, in the late, 90s, we were looking for different commercial applications for that technology. And that was when we started to look at the market and we said, there's this thing called intelligent video that's cropping up out there. And we said it would be great if we could take our machine vision analytics and apply them to in those days, an analog camera as the sensor. So we were able to do that. We were excited about that, but guess what? That's not enough. You need a product to come to market. So in those days, we came to market with what we called an IVS, an intelligent video solution 1.0. It was our DVR in those days. It was analog. And we really started taking off in places where trespassing was kind of the key security concern. So electrical utilities, border, portable security, mobile applications, things of that nature. Right around this time, 2005, 2006, 2008, what was happening in our market? The analog world was completely, evolving into the IP market. So Arteco took it upon ourselves, to stay in step with that. And we really started partnering with the likes of Bosch and Access, and in those days, Samsung, which as we all know is Hanwha now. And one lesson that we really learned was we were the first company to take our license plate recognition app and package it up as a standalone application to run on the WiseNet chipset. And that really taught us a lot about the market, the power of partnership, the power of innovation when it comes to partnering with other security manufacturers. So we took a look at that and we said, you know what, we're so focused on video, but we're an event management tool. We're pulling events from all different cameras, different types of analytics. What if we could pull in events from other third-party subsystems? Every security device generates alarms. Why are we only focused on alarms from analytics? So 2015, we developed something called Open Connector. And Open Connector is a XML portal or an XML framework into the Arteco system. And that's really, around the same time we started speaking with ZKTeco, probably around the same time Larry and I met each other at that ISC, as he referred to. And, ZKTeco was really one of the first companies globally that embraced this concept of, wow, we can do two-way metadata exchange. We can send you the event information. You can provide video verification with us. And, in the early days of 2015, we were talking about this, right? 2016. We were able to come to market with an integration with ZK Bio. And that really opened the floodgates. We started talking about, there was facial recognition we could integrate, building automation, intrusion, fire, perimeter detection, and then also third-party products we never really thought of originally, warehouse management, track and trace. In the cannabis industry, we do seed to sale integration. So all of these things that, are important. We call it operational stickiness because it indels the VMS to the overall operation in ways really never thought of previously. Around that time, another kind of interesting thing started happening. Arteco was being broadly adopted as a video monitoring tool for real-time monitoring. So one of the benefits you get with Arteco, if there's integrators or distributors or end users on the call, if you ever want your video to be monitored, Arteco has partners waiting with 24/7 monitoring centers that use our application as the monitoring software for two-way audio, real-time monitoring applications. And that was a big step for us because traditionally we were being used with a third-party integration with like SureView Imix or something of that nature, but now Arteco is the baseline for that. And then just most recently, last year, we kind of came full circle to our analytics roots, and we launched Arteco VCA. And Arteco VCA is just a complete refresh of our analytics platform. It's no longer just good enough, quite frankly, to detect trespassing, right? We need to know, was it a person? Was it a group of people? Was it a vehicle? What was the color of the vehicle or the color of the shirt? What direction did they come from? All of these things are keeping in step with the market. And the ultimate long-term vision of this is all about search. How are we streamlining search? And that's what we're seeing with Open Connector, with ZKTeco that we're going to share with you. How do we make this easier? How do we pull all this vast amounts of data and put it at our customers' fingertips? So today, we do sell globally through distribution through our certified partner program. We align very nicely with ZKTeco, not only from our sales channel standpoint, but also our global branches. Arteco has based in Italy is our world headquarters, the U.S. branch here in St. Louis, and then offices in Mexico, South Africa, and Argentina. So we can, and what I like to emphasize about that is they operate as one global support team. So no matter where you are in the world, that case can be passed off. When we go to sleep, we pass off a case if it's not complete, and we have it all fixed up in the morning. We do sell our software on a camera license. So it's a perpetual license. Customers love that because they buy it, they own it. There's never a time in the future where that stops working or you have to, pay the piper to access your video. Differently, we also do provide turnkey hardware. That kind of comes back to our DVR roots, but you can buy turnkey hardware with all the licenses loaded, and our certified partners love that. And then last but not least, we are privately owned, funded, and independent. As I mentioned, there's so much activity happening in the acquisition field, so much happening in the venture capital, specifically when it comes to analytics. Being privately owned and independent has really allowed Arteco to grow organically and not kind of just chase the next new fad. With ZKTeco specifically, as Larry mentioned, full integration with ZK Bio through Open Connector. And that's, once again, that's that two-way metadata exchange. It's an XML framework. It allows us to work with any reader, including the Speedface line. So obviously our focus today is on the Speedface line, but they have some great products. We're already, our partnership is very good with ZKTeco. We're already looking at their LPR, their facial recognition, and so on and so forth. So that's something that we continue to improve, continue to get better. Inside Arteco, you can receive real-time alert notifications in the event log or on your map, which we'll show you in real time. You can also receive push notifications to your smartphone, so to your iPhone or Android through the Arteco app. If you get an event from ZK, you can actually get a push notification on your phone, hit that button on the push notification, and go directly to the video that's associated to that alarm. Excuse me. You can also associate more than one camera. Maybe you want a camera on the outside, you want a camera on the inside, you want a camera looking down the hallway. All of those will go into one succinct event from the ZKTeco alarm. So you have multiple different views that you can add on there. The great thing is you can search one or more access points. So if I want to search, hey, show me every time someone named Steve Berkmeyer's come through this door in the last 30 days, boom, I type in that information and I see just for that one door. Maybe I want to say, we want to track this Steve Berkmeyer throughout the entire building or maybe the campus. Just by selecting, your peripherals, you can choose where you want to search and do all that under one search. So we have a short video here. We're going to show the demo. This is also available on our YouTube channel. If we're always looking to put out more content. This was a really fun one to make. And then we're gonna play this video, and then we're gonna slow it down and actually do the live demo. So I'm just gonna shut up for a moment, and I'll let this play. Okay, everybody just calm down from that excitement right now for a second. So we're going to take you into the live demo, and with that, here, let's go to this slide. I'm going to escape out of the presentation here, and what we're looking at right now is just the Arteco. It's called Arteco Next, and this is our client software. Obviously, you know, for us, mapping is quite an important application because it's interactive. It allows for situational awareness, and we're gonna have Daniel, the star of that show. We're gonna have him in real life, made a special appearance, and he's gonna come in. So basically, on this map, we can see that we have some different icons. We have the face reader. We have just a standard door access. We have cameras. And what will happen is, you know, when we get a reading, even on the map, a couple things are going to happen. You're going to have an event populate in your event log, which will happen down here. And then you'll also have a flash on the screen from your map icon. So we'll just wait here just for a second. I think Daniel's out there. I'm not seeing him, but okay. So if you hover over that, what you're going to get is, okay, there we see it's flashing, and now it's updated to Daniel's information. So, and if I want to make that a little bit bigger, I can just kind of, you know, size that on my screen. I can zoom in. I can immediately access the camera that's tied to that particular or multiple cameras if you have them. I can, if Daniel's maybe out there, I can see that that's him out there, but for some reason, you know, it's not letting him in. I can manually override and open or close that. I could set off an alarm or lock the door down. So that was one thing that Larry's talked about. And, you know, we have, you know, houses of worship that will, you know, view this information and they'll say, you know, I need a button that will lock down all my doors if God forbid something, you know, awful is about to happen. And they can do that directly from the interface. We also get that key metadata. So you can see I'm just scrolling in with my mouse wheel here. That key metadata coming in, which is, you know, Daniel's information, you know, the fact that it's a face reader. Is he wearing a mask? Not, you know, what is the temperature reading? You know, and one of the things we really love about the speed face reader and ZK's approach to it is, you know, this is a reader, right? You know, so many of the, you know, temperature applications that are out in the market, they're just cameras that are, you know, sending you that information. This is actually something that can restrict access, and you can tell if you're wearing a mask, if you're not wearing a mask, and then can do the temperature. So for us, we almost look at the temperature as kind of a, you know, several kind of, you know, steps down in the value proposition of this product and why we're so excited about it. So if I wanted to say, hey, I want to see this information, I want to actually see the event that happened, all I need to do is just click on the icon, and what that's going to do is play back the associated video of, you know, Danny coming through the front door here, and then side by side we'll get that with the information of him actually in here. So I don't know, Daniel, if you went all the way out the door or not. Let me just play it up another one real quick. Let's sort by description, and we'll find our information here. Hang on, just bear with me. Okay, so we can play that here, and you can see no matter what you're doing, no matter which door you're coming through. Here's me coming out my door, you know, coming in. You're getting all those events coming into the key area. I think we're going to get another one here coming here momentarily. Bear with us, the live demo. Okay. I believe he's gone back out there. There he is. Okay. So now once that populates, now we have a new image of Danny coming through. And then once again, I can just click on that event log, and now we see the video. So you could pause this, you know, maybe I want to zoom in. I can export this video with one click. So if I click export, that lines up that video for me. Very easy to export. Or maybe I want to export this snapshot. I can just click export snapshot, and it will take that specific frame. I can bookmark this video, or bookmark this event. I can set a priority. Maybe I want to make this high priority, and I can also add notes. So as soon as I hit enter, it's going to say, are you sure you want to do that? I say yes, and now that's saved into this event information. Another great feature that I can do from the event management is, let's say I have an event right there that populates, I can link a layout. So if I'm looking at a map interface, I'm not really seeing all the cameras I want to see. If I click open link layout, that immediately takes me to a predefined layout of all the cameras that are around that access point. So super easy. We try to make the workflow, very intuitive for the operator and just make it as easy as we can. So this is all in the live view. When we go to, let's go back to our map view here. When we go to the power of the system is really in the recordings and the capability of the search. So let's say I want to go into my recordings environment. And if I wanted to see, just show me everything that's happened at that reader today. All I need to do is just drill down to today and load up. And now I have every event that's happened. And we'll see the event that Daniel just did when he came through there. So, but I can go through there and I can look very quickly, very easily. Just load me up the events. I know what happened sometime today. Okay, but there's this Steve Berkmeyer guy. He's coming through. He looks suspect. So I'm curious about Steve Berkmeyer, and I want to see in the last 7 days, maybe 30 days, however you want to do it, I want to see, show me just the times that we've had someone named Steve come through here. So now I'm just going to type Steve in my search parameter, hit search, and that quickly I load up all of the events of Steve Berkmeyer coming through there in the last 7 days. So I can see, exactly what he was doing, what he was up to. And keep in mind, maybe I want to do this across my, this is the front door. Maybe I want to do it across all of my doors. So from that standpoint, I'm just going to choose every door, every facial recognition, everything I have integrated into this St. Louis demo unit. And I'm going to keep everything else the same. And in the last 7 days, I hit search and go to my event log. And now I have not only the front door, but I have any of the doors that Steve's come through. So, if I want to see him going past an office, if I want to see him in the inventory area, maybe I want to see him, wherever he was going, I can see that access points. Once again, it makes it very easy from a workflow standpoint to tie together an incident report, because now I can see all of this information tied together in one convenient place. And with that, that's going to conclude the demo of ZKTeco inside the Arteco VMS, and kind of wanted to just open things up. I know we kind of have gone through and given you a lot of information, but want to jump back over to the presentation here. Oh, not that one. Okay, let's try this. Jump back over to the presentation, and we'll just kind of open the floor to questions. I know that there might have been an issue, Melanie. I think I saw something about people not being able to access the chat.
Yes, so currently live users cannot submit questions, but we do have a few questions that we collected before, and they're in the chat here. So the first one, I can go ahead and start that off. Someone asked, is the integration process complicated?
No, the integration process is very straightforward. As Larry said, everything that you do, you set up your ZK bio, you link it up with Arteco through Open Connector by creating a connector per door. And then from there, you're just going through and designing it as you want. That's a great question. I want to show you just real quickly kind of the power of the system. If I choose a device, I can go locate device, and then I just go into my setup, and now I'm immediately into that ProFace reader device as it looks inside Arteco. And now it's just a matter of, how many cameras am I connecting? I can select that. Do I have IO devices I want to add? Do I want to add a web device? And this is how we would get directly into ZK Bio from inside the Open Connector, or custom commands. And from there, I'm basically just customizing how I want the look and feel. Where do I want my buttons? I can drag, move these around. This is where the text data will come. This is where the image will come. Extremely straightforward. All the heavy lifting's been done from Arteco and ZKTeco's partnership. Excellent question. Thank you.
Great. We do have another question. Is the temperature displayed in the Arteco platform from the ZKTeco SpeedFace device?
Yes, it certainly is. So if we go in and we'll just open up this event again. So it's going to be displayed in a few different places. But when we look at this particular, just kind of zooming this in, we can see the temperature reading right here. And if depending on how you have it set, if you have it set to Celsius or Fahrenheit, that's the information that we'll get from inside Arteco. You also have the same metadata coming through inside. Anytime I look at the connector, so whether it's in recording, the map view, that information is right there. Also, were they wearing a mask or not? That information actually comes in the event log itself. So if I wanted to search by, hey, show me people, show me times you had mask detection, or show me people who weren't wearing masks, you can see that in the event log.
Awesome.
Hey, Steve, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do end users go about purchasing Arteco? How does it start when an end user has a requirement for video event management? What do they do?
Well, certainly, we speak to end users all the time, and we have, as I mentioned, we have a certified partner program, which are systems integrators, and we will, speak to the end user, we'll show them the product, gain their interest, answer a lot of their questions, and then, depending on where they are geographically, we'll match them up with a certified partner. Sometimes we bring them in right at the beginning, but that's typically how that relationship kind of blossoms.
And how do the dealers purchase Arteco?
Our certified partners purchase through Annixter, CSC Wesco, Accutech. Those are our key distributors, and that's. But we do 100% sell-through distribution.
Is there a recurring fee for your software?
No, there's not. It's a perpetual license. That's one of the great selling points. Is we looked at the VMS market and we said, there's a lot of pain points in VMS. There's these SSAs that are required. You won't get support if you're not paid up. There's these licenses that will expire, and then you're basically held hostage if you want to access your video. So when we looked at it, we said, you know what, we're going to give 2 years of free upgrades on any feature we come out with. We're going to make them perpetual licenses. You buy them, you own them. There's never a time where they stop working in the future. Now you can buy software support agreements for years 3 through 10, but you're not required to. If you don't want to, you're not required to.
Yeah, because a lot today's access control vendors, they're now charging recurring fees for their cloud-based solution, and we're also hearing some customers are uncomfortable about having their data in the cloud also. So on-premise means that the customer's got control of that data. They don't have to worry about third parties. And with ZKTeco Biosecurity and with Arteco, there is no recurring fee. I mean, you own it. So your initial investment is all up front, and then it's yours. So that's a tremendous benefit by working with ZKTeco and Arteco.
Correct. And we are committed to an on-premises product line. Obviously, as a company, so focused on R&D, we do have a cloud offering coming. We do have a service-based offering coming, but we will always maintain that on-premises product for customers who want to own that environment, so to speak.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I should also note anyone who's been purchasing ZKTeco products for a while now, we've been trying to have everything available through distribution as best we can. We are 100% distribution. However, we found it more difficult managing the software licenses from the distributor's purchasing department. Sometimes the purchasing agent doesn't inform the distributor's salesperson. Then the distributor's salesperson is contacting one of our salespeople, and with all the back and forth. So ZKTeco biosecurity software is now sold direct by ZKTeco, while all the hardware remains in distribution. And we hope that'll take away all the pain points that distributors have in trying to distribute licenses. So ZKTeco biosecurity and the Arteco license is sold directly from ZK to the dealer, and then the dealer, of course, supplies the end user.
Fantastic.
I do have another question that came in. Regarding this Maps feature, does that come with the Arteco license, or is it an add-on?
No, Maps is, as I mentioned, it's fundamental to our product. I mean, you can always just have a standard, kind of what we call a layout view, right, with all of your cameras up on the layout. But for us, being so focused on event management and situational awareness, if you're, imagine you're looking at a school and all the hallways look the same, right, at a certain point. So in order for you to kind of get a visual understanding, the interactive capability of the maps, and then all the third-party integrations that can come into the map is really the power of it. And that's included in all of our licenses. So you have that capability.
Hey, Steve, what does your team look like? So for dealers who want assistance, if they have an opportunity, what type of sales or marketing resources do you guys have for dealers?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we have what I call a hybrid model. We have, our internal sales staff. Our national sales channel director is Eric Vorbeck, who's, I believe he's on here as an attendee, not as a speaker. We have complete inside sales and engineering, and then we work through our manufacturing rep partners throughout the country. And there is some alignment with ZK. I know we're even talking to more reps. So if there are reps on the call that, if you're interested in kind of learning more about Arteco and what we have available from a geographic standpoint, I'd be happy to have that conversation. But yeah, from there, we go through our certified partners down to the integrators, to the end users, all through distribution. So.
Yeah, we have similar business models, Arteco and ZKTeco. Like yourselves, we also have our manufacturers reps who are out in the field supporting the dealers and the distributors and even visiting end users when necessary. And then we also have inside salespeople and sales engineers to provide technical training and so on. So I want to ensure everybody on the line, maybe right now you're only interested in ZKTeco access control, or maybe you're only interested in the Arteco video integration, the video management, or you are interested in both. I can assure you, you'll have full support, both remotely with webinars, as well as having on-site sales support. And in many cases, Steve and I have the same manufacturer's reps, so they're experts in both.
Yep. And, and I think just to kind of summarize too, when we look at the market trends, that we're seeing, specifically where we focus our R&D, focus our development, unified platform is one of the biggest, most important trends. It's up there at the top of the list. And if you just kind of go back full circle to what I was showing you in our history, Arteco sees the value in partnership. We want ZK to focus on what they do great. We want Arteco to focus on what we do great, access control and VMS. And if we can deliver, a unified platform where you're not buying your access control from a VMS company and vice versa, we really see a lot of power in that. It's a great partnership, and we look forward, if anyone's interested in having kind of a private demonstration, answer more questions. Like Larry said, you'll have our contact information, and we are more than happy to speak with you.
So, Steve, I know you guys have had a lot of success in the cannabis industry with the sale. So, could you speak a little bit to why you think that you guys are a good fit for the cannabis industry, and if there are any other verticals that the other dealers focus on? I don't know if you're big in education or manufacturing, or you maybe speak a minute or two about that.
Yeah, for sure. So, cannabis for us, a lot of it was right place, right time. we were already doing work in warehouse management and logistics, and a lot of the warehouse management software companies were kind of transitioning into what are called seed to sale software. And for those of you who are aware of the cannabis industry, it's obviously a highly regulated industry, where those plants, basically from the moment they're cloned until the time they're out of your facility, they need to be tracked very carefully. So the track and trace software, typically it's either a barcode scanner, and some more sophisticated, it's RFID. But whenever someone's handling the plant, whether it be weighing or trimming or packaging or anything like that, they have to scan that. Just like in ZKTeco, when someone walks up to the speed face reader, reads their face, and that triggers an alarm in our software. You have the same thing with the seed to sale. So for example, we can tie in the cameras, we can tie in the actual seed to sale tracking software, all of these things in one succinct place. So that kind of gave us, a step up. We started partnering with the seed to sale companies. We can also pull in the environmental sensors. The cannabis industry is really broken up into about 4 or 5 different sub-industries, depending on what stage of the market. And we do a lot of work in the cultivation, but we're seeing that growing in manufacturing, distribution, and also in the retail market, which is the dispensary. So a lot of it's right place, right time. We can really give you a lot of this, what they already need. We can give you a unified platform under one VMS. As far as other vertical markets, we do education. I mentioned utilities. So for us, electrical utilities are one of our biggest markets. But that's also cellular, water. Think of all the standard utilities. Probably our biggest growth over the last 2 years has been in auto dealerships. So Arteco does a ton of auto dealerships, and that it allows us to shine with a lot of our really attractive feature sets. So they could do fleet tracking, for example. They're doing very heavy in the analytics for trespassing. Now they're wanting, hey, I want to know license plate recognition. I also want the vehicle. Where did the red car go? That kind of thing. Sure. So that's been a very good market, and we deal at the kind of the national auto dealership networks at that kind of level.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, especially with COVID-19 and the requirement for elevated body temperature detection, mass detection. We're seeing a lot of success, especially wherever you have a high concentration of employees. That's where you've got the greatest risk for someone getting exposed and then getting everyone in the plant sick. So anyone, especially in high density areas like manufacturing plants, retail distribution centers, that's where you really have the greatest risk of still anyone becoming sick, even post COVID-19 vaccinations being available. The moment somebody is sick, people think sometimes that the flu is so prevalent in the wintertime because it's cold, and that's not true at all. The flu is prevalent because we're all stuck inside because it's too damn cold to go outside.
Right. That's so, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, so now, we're still reminding people, hey, listen, if you want to really lessen the likelihood of anyone who's ill with anything from entering your work premise or school, you should have some type of body temperature mass detector out there at that entrance, just keeping everyone mindful. Hey, listen, be mindful of your health. And I'm sorry, if you're a student, you're not feeling well, you're not going to be able to take that exam. If you're an employee and you're not feeling well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to take a sick day or a vacation day because it's not worthwhile risking everyone else getting sick. So, so we tend to work hand in hand with you well in the cannabis industry, and of course in schools, manufacturing facilities, distribution centers, where we still see a lot of demand for our body temperature readers. I also want to point out that this conversation was about integration with our ZK Biosecurity. For any other dealers there who don't necessarily need integration, we still have our ZKTeco Atlas door kits, which are probably the fastest, easiest to install access control kits in the market. They support Power over Ethernet, Wi-Fi, very fast, simple, and they all support now Bluetooth readers and soon QR code scanners. So from the ZK side, if any of you have projects requiring integration with Arteco or any other visitor management systems and so on, you got the ZK Biosecurity. And then for those of you who just have a small installation, you just need to, to manage in and out, you got your ZKTeco door kits, all available through distribution. So please remember that. Hey, Steve, I know we're running out of time. Any other closing remarks from your side?
Just one last thing that I'll say is, obviously it's great as a partnership. We share technology at the ZK, office in Atlanta. They have full Arteco, working towards full demo of Arteco. Here in our office in St. Louis, we have the same thing. And, I have to say, I've been so thoroughly impressed by the capability of this speed face reader. And when it gets me with you can see me in this picture with this, big mask on. I have sunglasses on. I guess I have a big forehead. I don't know, but it'll pick that up. And it's just been a very accurate and easy, simple to use product. And we're excited about the integration.
Yes, and listen, we're just talking about the relationship you and I have, but of course, Steve and I, we've got Arteco and ZK offices all over the world that are also doing engagement. So we're both international companies, international footprint, been at this a long time, histories of development, innovation. So, Steve and I are happy to work with you guys in the U.S., but certainly if there are any U.S. multinationals on the call with us, I can assure you that Steve and I may not be able to jump on a plane and go out to Italy or France.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but we've got offices all over the world to help anyone on the call who has, multi-location. So, definitely let us know, and we'll introduce you to our counterparts overseas.
Fantastic.
I do also want to let everyone know that if you have a question and you are unable to get that answered today, you can send in your question as an email to info@zktecousa.com, and we'll get back to you.
Fantastic.
Okay. Well, Mel, thanks for hosting. Steve, thanks for being my co-host and partner in crime.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
If you guys want us to do this again, please email us, and Steve and I will, we'll rebroadcast this live if you think it'll be helpful. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.